Hey guys, I'm doing a bit of a vlog today. Getting ready for tomorrow, getting stuff out the door, etc., etc. Um, and I wanted to thank everybody that's fired up for this weekend. I myself am very fired up, very looking forward to it. I've never had this many people over at one time. With the sole intent of making terrain. And I was thinking, at first I thought, well, with all those people, what I should probably do is I should probably come up with kind of a battle plan of you know, what we should do, so how we can knock it out quick and stuff like that. And then I was thinking to myself, you know, this is the first time they've ever come over, and I don't want to necessarily focus their attention on something that they aren't necessarily interested in accomplishing at the moment. So I'm going to change my thought process a little bit here. Because my wife has got the Herstarts windmill that she's working on, and I know Ben wants to work on his Death World, which is going to work it's going to work well for Necron or whatever. I mean, it's going to have, you know, Death Worlds are great because so many applications, so many possibilities. And then I'm going to be working on Will's Ruined City, which is going to be basically a copy of mine, but I'm going to make it better. Will and his crew over there are taking on a mammoth project, and you know, the least I can do is go the extra mile for him and his bros. And so it's going to be my city, but there's going to be a lot of added details. I've got some conceptual designs and some additional thoughts that I want to add to the original. So basically, I'm going to let everybody do what they want to do. So it's going to provide a much greater variety for you guys. You'll be seeing, you know, like I said, stuff that'll work across the board for regular Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40K, or D&D. Just tons and tons and tons of different game systems, because a lot of what we're going to be doing is fairly generic, which whenever you're designing terrain and you're tight on space, that's a very important factor. Whenever you're building terrain for yourself, one of the things you want to think about is long term. You know, is this for like a one night module, or nodule as I've heard them called, or does this have additional applications? Like, one of the things I want to do that I don't see necessarily having a lot of outside additional playability, for lack of a better phrase, is there was if you watch Star Wars Clone Wars, there's a battle that they have at the beginning of this episode season. I think it's this season's episode, where they do a fight underwater in like an underwater city with tubes and whatnot. And I was working last night and I was coming up with concepts, because that's one of the tables I'd like to make But the thing is when you're designing stuff like that, and it's a very specific, very narrow playability element, you know, you want to either well, actually, really, it all boils down to this. You want to try and design something so that you can break it down into other recognizably usable pieces of terrain for other game systems. So, for instance, this city, I wanted to do a lot of tubes, and then I had figured out that the tubes could actually function as individual sci-fi buildings for, like, say, towers, something along those lines. So when I'm done using it, and it's just taking up space, and I don't necessarily want to haul it out and do more games on it, I could make a couple extra bits, connect it up to it, and then go on eBay and sell it off as tow terrain. And other terrain makers out there, this is something that you want to have in the back of your mind, is that as cool as it is for, you know, what you're doing specifically, eventually you're probably going to want to swap it out. And as long as you're swapping it out, you might as well make some money on the hard work you've put into it. You know, I can't tell you how many weekends and mornings and just, you know, basically all my free time that I spend doing terrain. It really sucks doing something that it's got a very narrow playability factor. So you always want to look at 2, 3, or more different game systems that you can make this work for when you're done with it. Another person asked me about where I go to get the video games that I use for my inspiration. And one, I go to Angry Joe. He's got a ton of videos. And a very important factor here, I'm not looking for the quality of game. What Joe looks for is something that's fun to play, has got good controls, good plot line, good backstory, and being a terrain guy and watching playthroughs, yeah, that's all good and fine. It makes it maybe a little more interesting, but I'm quite narrow in my field of interest for watching video games. I'm there strictly to look for terrain. I really don't care about plotline. I really don't care about how enjoyable it is. And the funny thing is, and this is going to seem a little bit strange, the crappier the game, usually the better the terrain is, because they're trying to make up for weaknesses in plot or gameplay or control mechanics or you know, any of the other shortcomings. Pretty much every reviewer out there thought very lowly of Thor, and that was actually in the back of my mind. That actually sent up an interest, you know, my interest in checking it out perked up, because that usually means that they spent a lot of money on the environment. And lo and behold, I go there, and it's not very expansive. I mean, it's like 4 places. I wasn't particularly interested in Asgard. At the moment, if I do decide to do a city like Asgard, then, you know, I'll go back and check it out. But the lava world since I myself want to do a hell campaign someday, I found very, very useful. Had a lot of good, how do I say this? Had a lot of good visuals, and I know there's not a lot that you can really do with lava. I mean, it's basically just wasteland hills if you take away, you know, the lava content and whatnot. But you get ideas from the textures, you get ideas from the format, and one of the interesting things is that they do have actual, like, buildings and stuff. And the way that the buildings kind of work with the terrain, it gives it a really nice unified element. And that's what I'm looking for, because like when eventually I do make my hell train and whatnot, I want to have, you know, cities and, well, like you saw my port city there, you know, I want to work things into it, and it gets your mind kind of primed to, okay, how do I develop this to interact? For instance, they have a lot of ruins that are backlighted. You know, they you change the colors of things from red to blue, and you know, things like that. And when I did that how-to with the how to burn through the black paint to get that undercolor, I mean, it's perfect for that. It was like I looked into the future and I said, oh, I'm going to do a tutorial on exactly how to make Thor, you know, lit ruins and things like that. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the evil terrain looks like how I would like to do my demons, you know, demon cities and structures. So, you know, that's important. But basically, you know, any movie reviewer you'd like, and usually movie reviewers will compare games, and this is ultra important. If there is a game that you like, and they're comparing it to another game, well, there you go. There's your added content right there. I've noticed that a lot of people are designing their own dungeons in with the Skyrim engines, or engine that they've come up with. And one of them is called Sanctum of the Fallen, and oh my god, now that is an epic. It's even epic to watch for the storyline. And I'm a person that hates boss fights because it's like, I want to get on to the next piece of terrain. The most boring thing in the world for me is to sit and watch your character jump up and down for 10 minutes trying to kill something. But they had really good big boss rooms, and they had really interesting like hallways and whatnot to get there. Even some of the rooms, they had intertwined bridges that went just stories into the air. Really cool. So, you know, go check out different game reviewers. Like I said, Angry Joe, I mean, he doesn't pull any punches. He uses adult language. So my younger viewers out there, just find somebody else. My adult viewers, you'll find him incredibly funny. Guy's just a riot to watch. And, but that's where I go. That's what I look for. Those are the things that I've found out. I want to ask you guys to put into the comment sections, if you've hung around this long, games that have really good terrain. It can be sci-fi. It can be fantasy. Somebody said I made terrain that looks like Guild Wars 2, which is an incredible compliment. Don't get me wrong. And I went through and somebody checked out the cities and somebody checked out the dungeons. And I went through and I checked the cities out first. And the cities are unbelievable. They have this Nordic city that's got these huge ice sculptures and lodges, and boy, if you want to do some Space Wolves terrain, go check that out. It's kind of like Skyrim on steroids when it comes to big buildings. It's just phenomenal. But I found the dungeons to be quite lackluster, and considering that you'd probably, and I'm not an MMO player, so I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume you'd be spending more time in dungeons than you would in cities. So I would think they would try and put a little more emphasis on the dungeons. So if there's some MMOs out there that have really good dungeons, please put them in the comments section so I can check them out and see for myself, because like I said, I'm always on the hunt for new eye candy, and because computer games are geometrical in nature, they teach you how to put things together, you know? If you've got any kind of a sculpting tool, I mean, down to just a straight, you know, razor knife cutting up, you know, foam, you know, they put things together in a certain way, and if you can figure it out, you can take that virtual computer structure and you can make it into an actual 3D piece of terrain on your table, you know, and that's an awesome thing to be able to do. So, quick recap, we're going to be having a ton of people over this weekend. It's not looking like we're probably going to be doing the live stream, at least this time. Maybe we'll do it later on, but like I said, everybody's got what they want to do. I know some people are fairly camera shy, and we can break them in, we can get them over that. But but what we're going to do is we're going to do lots of uploads. I'm getting close to 1,000 videos now, and if we're uploading, like I think we're going to be uploading, I may just pass that 1,000 vid mark, which would be great. That'd be a great end to an awesome weekend. So, like I said, I'm going to be working on my city for Project 1 over Will over there on Project 1. And I know Death World's got the most votes on Tabletop Gaming Center's channel, and I know he's going to be faithful to his followers there. So, you know, we're going to have a little bit of everything, you know, medieval terrain, futuristic terrain, generic can work in any style gaming terrain, and we'll probably get some how-tos mixed in there as we're doing stuff, so you guys can kind of get a feel for how we operate, and then you can give it a shot yourself. So, thanks for sticking around this long. We got a lot of stuff in store for you. We got a lot of people showing up this weekend, and there's going to be just a ton of things going on. So if you get time during your busy weekend, you know, cruise on by and give us a view, and hopefully we can entertain, educate, and make your weekend a little more enjoyable than it might have been. So thanks much. Love you guys. Bye-bye.